Trans kid? I was the trans kid. Um, if you would like to know the truth behind trans kids, please watch this video. We do exist. Um, and we certainly were trans. And the truth behind trans kids. Today I want to talk about it, like, just take a moment and also just, like, talk about experience through my own childhood. So my name is Kina, if you have not known. Um, I am a person who has transitioned from male to female at the age of 16, openly, publicly. Now, I would like to talk about, like, so throughout, like, a lot of social media platforms with, like, a lot of bigotry, especially Twitter. Um, there's been a lot of things going on that's been, well, they say that trans kids don't exist. They blame it on adults in grooming, and they say that it's just non-existent, and that trans kids don't actually exist. But unfortunately, that is not true. Now, the reason why is because I know myself that when I was a kid, I was trans. Now, how do I explain this? Well, obviously, from my personal experience, for a majority of my life, I've never actually came in contact with any of the LGBTQ plus anything because half my life I spent up growing up in a government that was not pushing any of the LGBTQ plus things and society that didn't accept it because I grew up in another nation that was China and none of it educated me about anything towards that. Now, since I moved over to the United States, um, I was able to use the internet and discover a lot more things that I did not know about. But before that, I already had a deep desire to be a girl. I didn't know why I had that feeling for like a majority of my life. Um, but it was a desire that kept getting worse and worse every so. Like it went from just like, oh, it would be nice. Oh, I wish to like, oh, I would die for it. It's pretty bad, but it's pretty bad, but that's basically how far it's like gotten to me with like and I realized that like um so it's like my life story is kind of just like, oh, masculine expectations from family and it's like traditional expectations of me playing a role as a man and that did not make me look towards the future very well. In fact, I did not really want to, well, be a man. I had a very feminine nature to me. I had well, it was just very like I had a feminine nature to me. I got jealous of like other girls when I was growing up and like the like treatment they would get and like I don't know, like the clothes they were able to wear. They were able to be pretty, grow out their hair and like stuff like that and have fun with like their hairstyles and like whatnot. And like their socializing circles looked really friendly and never got along with guys really well. Like it was like really vivid. And and that's the thing. It kind of made me like feel like that I really wanted to be like a girl because like it would feel better and I would be able to like make friends like that felt and the thing is like I grew up and like I made friends with girls and like by the way a lot of people actually thought I was gay for like a majority of the time but I mean honestly at that time I didn't even know like I thought I was straight and stuff like that but like I just had a deep desire down beneath that like I wanted to be a girl too and that like that was like the thing like with gender right is like oh like and then like when I came across like books right because I was like I think I was like 13, 14. I started reading a lot of manga novels and like because of the anime shift right um I fell in love with books and like of like displaying like like becoming like girl or whatnot, like fantasy, blah blah blah. And it was really interesting too, right? And I felt a deep connection with it that enlarged like my desires because I'm like and I kept reading into it because like I doubt anyone would be interested in this stuff if they're like not too same with the desires, to be honest, or like unless they're just reading into like I don't know, but like it's a very interesting thing. And like I guess like the manga that really picked me up from um feeling this way, the that like really I enjoyed the most probably was Onimai before it took off as an anime. I was reading the manga already, and it really felt like comforting to know like Mahiro's life and like how how it could have been. And then and then like reading other books like novels and stuff like that of romances as well, of like someone's gender being bent and then like falling in love. It really like felt very connecting to me. And then after a while I figured out, oh, I was trans. Oh wow. At first it took a lot like for me to like, oh, this is not normal. Like wanting to be a girl and like having a huge desire for it is not normal. And I'm like, oh wow. I thought all guys, if they had the chance, they would take it and be a girl. Honestly, that's how I felt. Like I thought it was normal to feel like that. Like it's normal to be wanting to be the other gender. And by the way, at this time, I was still a minor, aka kid, because that's what most people consider as kid, right? Like kid slash teenager, same thing, basically. Like still a kid, still a kid. Like some people like I'm 18 now, but like some people still like, oh, you're still like a baby, and like, oh my god, I'm adult. Come on. But yes, it's kind of funny. But anyways, I just wanted to talk about the topic. I guess I'm getting off track. Basically though, it's a big experience and like it's a lot of stuff that like came to me before I figured out I was trans. And the thing is like I had a deep desire to want to tell my family that I actually wanted to be a girl, but they've already set these expectations of me, right? And they're all very masculine, and I already present myself as the expectations were set by my family to everyone. So the problem with that is that if I did come out and if they were agreeing with me, well, then it'd be really difficult to transition even if that were to happen. And I had the bravery and the guts to do that when I was 17. Yeah, it took a really long time because I had felt this way ever since it's been, ever since I was a little kid. I did want to be a girl. And then when I entered my teenage years, the desire deepened, especially with the books and like being relatable. And then at 16, I came out. And then after that, um well, at at 17, I I told my parents, and they completely shut that down the drain. No. So it's pretty bad, but I don't have supportive parents, unfortunately, because I live in a traditional Eastern family which believes in like family honor and like having face and like they hate they hate everything. Like, oh my god, they yeah, it's pretty bad here. But honestly, like trans kids, right? It's like I honestly believe that like if someone does have the desire to want to be the other gender, well, then they can figure it out on their own. And if they do have that deep desire, then well, most likely they're trans. Like Most likely, yes, they're trans. And well, since you have that desire and probably have gender dysphoria, um, then well, it you can get it at like literally any age, but it really starts when you're younger. From me personally, like when you feel like when you have those like when you're starting to get those thoughts of wanting to be the other gender. It's not like when you're a child and you have these thoughts, it's not sexual. It's like it's never been sexual. No adult has told you. It's just like what you see and like what you want. And like, well, I mean, I really did like I don't know. Like I know that like not everyone has like the best like lives and whatnot, and there's a lot of like gender like treatment and stuff like that. But what I am saying though is I did see that girls were like given things that I would have wanted, basically, but I cannot get because traditional Eastern traditional Eastern family. Yes. So basically for like a majority of my life I wanted to try out like different hairstyles. I wanted to wear cute clothes and like I loved cute things and like I had a desire to be a girl in general. I don't know why. I don't know why. I think it's just yes. Yes. That is I don't have an explanation. I keep trying to bring up an explanation to explain it, but I cannot. It's just I cannot. It's just a desire that I have. And ever since I grew up, I started appreciating my femininity because I have a slightly decently feminine body. And I loved it. And I was told constantly that I was not masculine enough. I was told that I was like I don't know. I was told I was like a drag queen. I'm a attention whore or whatever. Like I would like have all these like flashy movements and shit. And it's crazy. Like that's like all the shit I've been like fed up with like when I was a child. It's just like, oh, yeah, you don't act like a man. Yeah, uh huh. And it's like, I don't know. It's just, and like, um, my parents have a very weird situation where, they kind of divorced and then remarried. And then I kind of had to move like so I lived with a American parent with my mother who is Asian. Um, and for like about a few 5 6-ish years during my teenagehood and like oh my god like they're like convinced like I might be like gay or something like that and like I was told like all kinds of stuff about like oh you're not masculine enough and like I was taught like to be masculine too and I was like and the thing is I really thought about it. I think it's first I tried to accept it, but then I was like, oh, this is not for me. This is not for me. I don't really want to be a man. And then that's when I realized that I really wanted to be a girl instead. But the thing is, like, at the time, I had like, I honestly genuinely thought like it could never be changed unless there's a freaking miracle. I die and like, get reincarnated or something. Like that's genuinely like what I felt at the time. And it's like, oh, if I get reincarnated, maybe I'll be a girl in my next life so I can like actually be happy. And then that started to like snowball and then I would start having those thoughts like every night and then it started turning into a nightmare where I would constantly get gender dysphoria and then like I would wake up praying holy hell that like my life changed somehow in some way. And like I'm just like, please, like something give me a miracle, but it never really happened. And and then like that's when I really looked into like trans stuff. Like and I figured out like that after a while, like I talked to some people, I figured out that what is trans, like how do you be trans? what is considered as trans. I honestly thought like it was too late for me. Like I thought you had to like go on hormones before puberty and or like whatever, like and do all kinds of surgeries and whatnot. And that's like genuinely what I thought what it was. But I was told that well, you don't have to pass to be trans, and like you don't have to start hormones early. You can start anytime. You don't have to have surgeries. And and that's kind of when I figured out like oh, and then it's like we'll treat you like right socially too. And it's like oh my god, this is what I've been looking for. I don't have to like resort to like quote unquote isekai in order to like figure my life out and like feel happy again. And it's like, and by the way, I was like super depressed. And like I'm sure that there's a lot more issues due causing my depression, is including my family, which is a whole other issue. But I would totally say that transitioning and figuring out trans and like doing all this stuff helped me with that combat gender dysphoria really really freaking helped me with my depression because I felt like I felt like life was living like worth living for again. That's like how well it felt. Like I was like dropping tears of joy figuring out that I was trans and like having like the first moments of euphoria, like wearing clothes, treated well socially, going out in public, etc. Having friends, people who treated me right and like as what I wanted to be. And it's like, oh my god, I'm having these moment of like euphoria, and it's like, oh my god, I have a reason to live, and yes, I don't have to die anymore in order to feel happy. And that's like basically shut down like my depression to where like I don't want to kill myself anymore. That's like how good it's gotten. It's like, oh, I don't want to die. I got lots to live for. I can live this life happily. I can't wait. And it's like, oh my god. Right? It's like, I got tons of years to be happy and fix my life up in transition. And it's like, oh my god. Right? And like, I love being a cat girl on the internet. And I love, like, I don't know, just existing as like someone that I feel like that is actually right and like have friends that well and went out in public and like stuff like that and it's like as a girl like it's so awesome having these moments of euphoria to where like oh my god I can finally live ta-da happy joy etc and it's like yes trans kids this is honestly how I feel about trans kids because I was one. It's like they exist and they should be allowed to like experience euphoria just like I do. They should not be denied. Like the medical discussion is a whole other thing where like more like research needs to be conducted. But I personally really, really do believe and support that kids should be allowed to socially transition if they want to. Like, it should be educated that someone is allowed to change their names and their pronouns and like wear different clothes, get different haircuts, like and like feel euphoria for like their gender even if they're not on hormones. Like they should still like be treated right. And that's like I think the biggest thing, especially I think as children, they for me personally, I have very I have very not like gendered like features where it's like you can't it's kind of not it's like kind of in between androgynous. Yeah, that's the word I've been looking for. I have very androgynous features and I'm really happy with that. But that also lets me kind of kind yeah ish pass as a girl if I were to dress up, but like I mean probably on the masculine side, but like still like pass enough to where like I can go out in public and not be shamed, and still people that are strangers treat me like actually like yes, they treat me like yes, like I'm a normal person because I have passing privilege, and like um yeah, like really like they would treat me like the gender I'm like going out as because I have passing privilege. But I think that most children usually are very androgynous, especially while they're growing up. That said, some children, because like puberty can affect them to not be so androgynous, so that might need extra support. But like um obviously HRT helps towards that, but I it's hard to push for medical transition for children because there's well, it's not that I don't believe that children should have medical transition, but I have came across a lot of detransitioners, but it's only because they were prescribed the wrong thing. They were never trans in the first place. It's like giving a cancer patient or not a not cancer patient chemotherapy. Basically, they've been diagnosed wrong and they've been given the wrong thing. But the thing is, in other places, it's extremely hard to get gender affirming care, whilst in some places it's really easy. And then it's really weird to where like there's a misbalance of like how people can get it, and difficulty depends on which areas, right? But now it's getting even worse and harder and harder and harder. But I genuinely do think that it's a good thing for trans people to get on hormones and like or to have blockers. And that is only like you can like figure out like if this is what you truly want after you've experienced like being trans for and figuring out if it's right for you. And that's why I push for social transitioning, because social transitioning helps towards like figuring out if this is what you actually want or not. Is this how you actually feel? And if this is not for you, well then this is not for you. And you're not trans. But this is certainly I figured out this is certainly for me, so I'm not going back. Cause if I go back, I'd rather die. So yeah. And I think that's like one of the biggest things about um trans kids is if you're not confused and you're sure and you're very sure that you want to be the other gender, like you have a deep desire, then you're most likely trans. Like if you have a really really deep desire to be the other gender, then yes, especially like from like my case of you. And it's like if you have that desire, you don't need a doctor to tell you that you have that desire. You don't need a professional to tell you. You just know you have that desire. And because you know yourself that you're trans and you want to be the other gender, then you're trans. And that's simple as that. If you know that you're trans, you're trans. If you don't know and you're unsure, then well, there's a good chance that you might not be trans because you're unsure and confused. And that's like how I see it is that children should be allowed to tell their family how they feel, and their family should be educated enough because of the push of transgender ideology that they will accept their children instead of being horribly mean to them. Yes. So I believe that, well, trans kids exist and they should feel safe to their families, that should be educated enough on these topics, and it should be global to the point where if they did come out as trans to their family, then they would live a fine life as a trans person. Like, it shouldn't be that difficult. Trans kids do exist, but that doesn't mean that like they could come out easily or whatnot. And well, they would they if they have the desire and they're truly trans, then they should you shouldn't say that they're groomed into this. Like nobody told them to be trans. They just have this desire. This is what they choose. This is what they want, and this is what they chose. Like, sure, there's topics saying, "Oh, a child can't choose their gender," but the thing is just like I felt this way ever since I was young, and it stuck with me for like my entire life. And that's when I knew that's that's like that's me choosing my gender right there because I want to be that. And you can't stop people from what they want to be because eventually they will do it either way and be out of your grasp. And that's why I will say trans kids will exist and they'll always exist. And I will always support them no matter what because I have the same feeling. And I understand what's it like to go through gender dysphoria. It's really like a nightmare and a storm. And it's really bad because, well, you have to go through the suffering of like wanting to end your life because you don't feel correct and desiring something that you feel like you will never have, desiring something that feels impossible almost, desiring something that you don't even know what to look for, like, and is confused. So this is why I think like these topics should be educated everywhere. Like at least this should be educated that like at least that it should be educated that you're allowed to tell how you feel, and if you and like you're allowed to feel like you're like you want to be another gender. That should be like no, like you shouldn't be telling kids like to like transition themselves like because like of like certain things, but you should tell them that this is an option. Like you can feel this way and you can say something about it. This is an option for life and you don't have to end yours. This option should be educated. You should tell children that they're allowed to feel this way and it's okay, and that it's okay to come out as trans because I'm not like shoving like this ideology down their throat, but it should be like, oh, like this exists. You can be this. Yes. It's like promoting religion, but like saying like, oh, religion's like yes, you can believe in it, but you don't have to. Pushing trans ideology is the same thing. It's like you don't have to transition, but if you want to, you can. See? That's a much better option. You don't have to educate children on all the like crazy stuff within the trans stuff until like they can figure out on their own. But you can educate children on having an option that's not going to be ending their life, and so they don't have to suffer. And I think that's really like what I'm pushing for here. And as a trans kid myself, there was, and that's I think that would have made my life a lot better knowing like and having like this like given to adults too, like, and that it's not wrong to feel this way. And I think that would have made my life like a lot better and not have to go through all the trauma and pain and suffering that I had to go through as a child. So that is literally all I'm pushing for. But yes, trans kids exist. Trans kids will always exist. And trans kids will always be trans, and trans kids will eventually transition. It's just a time of waiting. And trans kids should be supported and they should feel safe for who they are. And trans kids will, well, they deserve to be loved just like everyone else, and they don't deserve to be hated on. That's all I have to say. That's my 2 cents. Thank you for watching.